pleasant good morning from the Oklahoma River, the Boathouse District. I'm Dave Morris for the Oklahoman, joined by Olympian Casey Eichfeld. How are you, sir?
I am very well, thank you. How are you?
Well, I'm doing well, and thank you for your time. I know you're bouncing from interview to interview, which is says something about you and your credentials as being an Olympic athlete.
I appreciate that. No, it's definitely exciting to get to bring some attention to this pretty cool sport of ours.
As I mentioned, we're here right outside the Riversport Rapids area, right off the Oklahoma River. This weekend, the Road to Rio event and the U.S. Olympic trials happening Saturday and Sunday out here. It's a free event, so come on out. You can see this guy in action. He is already qualified for the Olympics, your third straight Olympics. We'll get into that in just a second. In fact, 2 of the 5 positions, if I understand this correctly, have already been confirmed, and so the other 3 are up for grabs, and then I think the seeding of the 5, and I'll shut up and throw it to you. What are we seeing this weekend?
So we are in our final Olympic selection race, as you mentioned. We already have the men's single canoe and the men's single kayak already situated. With myself in the single canoe and Mihal Smolin in the kayak. So we're looking to secure the positions for the women's kayak and the men's double canoe, which is also my other discipline. So my partner Devin McEwen and I will be looking to make our debut on the Olympic field and actually also make a little bit of history. I'm hoping to be the first United States athlete to compete in 2 disciplines in the same Olympics. So it's really exciting to have that opportunity and to kind of make my own little bit of history within the sport.
Talking with Casey Eichfeld, who'll be competing this weekend, as he just said. How'd you get started in this?
So my parents were recreational paddlers long before I was born, and that's actually how they met. They had a boat waiting for me before I was born, and I just fell in love with it when they got me started in it. And so,
Here, Casey, here's some food. Here's a binky. Hey, here's a boat.
Exactly. So honestly, the rest is history. I've been in a boat. The skills have come along over the years, and I've been on each the cadet, junior, and senior national teams at the earliest ages that I could be, and made my first Olympics when I was 18 for the Beijing Games. Then again for London in 2012, and now to tie it up with a third Olympics for Rio, and hopefully more afterwards.
Well, let's talk about that. Moving into Beijing, what was your mindset there?
So
18 years old, going to Beijing. How was that?
It was pretty incredible. It was good for us that we'd taken a trip there the October before that, just so we could kind of get our bearings, know what to expect. The course was incredible there. It was a massive course, very, very big whitewater. So a really incredible experience. I was a little bit young and I think maybe a little naive. My focus wasn't quite there. I was just excited to be there and to be waving at the camera to say hi to my family and friends.
How could it not be?
I mean, it's difficult to be on such an enormous stage. What maybe arguably the largest sporting stage ever. So it was an incredible experience, and I brought some of that knowledge to London. And I think at least for me, I had a better experience athletically. I was unfortunately able to move on, or not able to move on to the semifinal round because of a penalty that I had. But now with 2 Olympics under my belt, I think I've got the hang of things, and I'm hoping to see that podium up close and personal. Are
you throwing that around? Back in my first Olympics, I mean, you had to do your third Olympics, so are you kind of playing that card a little bit?
I feel a little weird doing that, but I mean, it is pretty cool to be able to say, hey, this is my third Olympics. So 26 now? I think that's how old I am. So I'm pretty excited to have all that experience under my belt, and honestly, I hope I have a couple more in me. So it's just compounding all that experience to bring it to the start gate and to find my way to the podium.
I've never been to Beijing, obviously. I've been to London a couple times. It's a fantastic city. What was your favorite part of London?
I think my favorite part of London, honestly, I had a small army there, family, friends, and so it was just incredible to afterwards actually get to go explore and tour the whole city with my family. Only my mom and dad came for Beijing, and it was a pretty quick trip for them. Whereas London, they hung out a little while afterwards, and it was really incredible to share that experience with them. But for me, every Olympics, I think the kind of ceiling moment for me is walking into the opening ceremonies and just you're surrounded by all these athletes that know the hard work and sometimes the pain that it takes to get where we are, and to to share that with them, to that moment. I'm a big baby. I cry every time I walk at opening ceremonies, and I'm probably going to do it again this time. I can't help it. It's easy to get the waterworks going. Anyway, so.
Well, Tim and I, we're guys that will watch that Olympic opening ceremony, and of course everybody sits around the TV at home or at the bar or whatever, and they're watching it, and it's cool. You have a different perspective of that. What is it like? What are you athletes saying to each other as you walk in?
So my first opening ceremonies, we're walking into the bird's nest, we're in that tunnel, and everybody just started chanting USA. 500 plus United States athletes, and I mean that was the trigger for me. I was done. I don't think I could see clearly all the way around the bird's nest, but it was incredible. And we got the same thing going into London. It's just everybody's so happy to be there. It's just the culmination of all that hard work, and to share that with everybody is incredible. So I love that experience, and then it's also nice to get to share that with all of the other countries as well. Maybe you don't know them, or maybe you do know them, but everybody's always happy to make friends. And
has that fringe, and I should say when I say Tim Money's field producing here and the man behind the camera, of course, has it changed with social media? Do you keep track of the fellow athletes maybe via Facebook or whatever? Has that changed from Beijing to now into Rio, just the 8 years there?
I certainly think so. So I was very fortunate in getting to participate in the 100 Days Out event on our road to Rio. And I made a whole bunch of friends in other sports, some pretty cool people, some pretty big names. And so now we're following each other on Instagram, which I don't even think existed during Beijing Games. So it's really cool. And I've got a whole bunch of other sports that I want to watch. I actually made friends with a bunch of the fencers. I found out, unfortunately, that their event is the same week as ours, so I may not get to make it over there, but I'm going to try.
Have you ever fenced?
I have never fenced, but it looks really cool.
It does look pretty cool. All right, Rio. Have you been to Brazil and Rio?
So I have had 3 trips now to Rio. We had our test event last December, and we've had a couple training camps since. It's been an incredible experience down there. Rio has been really welcoming. And honestly, we're just greeted by smiles everywhere we go. We've gotten to do the usual tourist activities, going to the beaches, going to Sugarloaf. And so it's been a really fun experience. There's a lot of sun. I'm doing my best not to get sunburnt. Lots of sunscreen and aloe. But it's been a lot of fun. And I actually will be heading back there in about a week for another training camp, and just before we head down in July for our final trip.
And the Olympics begin at the end of August down in Rio. Casey, I think you're from the East Coast. Is that right?
That's correct. I spent most of my life in Drums, Pennsylvania, but I've been based in Charlotte, North Carolina for the past 8 years now.
And a good water situation there, right?
Yes, absolutely. We have a facility very similar to this one here, and it's incredible for us to now have 2 world-class facilities within the United States. Actually, we even have 3, and so I'm really hoping that because we have this variety of great whitewater, we might be able to bring a little bit of the international field over here a little more often, make the sport a little more well known.
I know this course, they certainly toured Charlotte and looked at it and in part of the planning. How is this course? What do you think of the Oklahoma City water here?
I think that this facility is absolutely elite. It's been incredible. I've been here for about a week now, and I've enjoyed every day on the water. The fun thing about our course is that it's totally changeable. We have what we call rapid blocks in the course. You think of them as Lego pieces for whitewater, and you can move them anywhere you want in the course. So each day we could have totally different whitewater, and that's an incredible part to have for our training, because we need to train on as much diverse types of whitewater as possible, because that every course for us is different, and so we just are training to build this sort of instinctual encyclopedia in our heads. So maybe a piece of water I saw on the Sydney Olympic course that I train on in the winter means something to me here on a piece of water, and so I'll know how to react to that. And that's kind of what our training is all about, just learning as much about whitewater as we possibly can so we can read it and react.
All right, school me on this. The course in Rio, do you know in advance what that looks like? Is that something you can kind of chart out in your mind, or is it like a golf course, they change the hole, the pin placement every day?
So for us, the whitewater itself will stay the same. It's been changed a little bit. They have the same rapid block system. So the rapids have changed a little bit, but we know what those are going to be coming into the Olympics. Now for us, our gates, though, that hang over the river that we negotiate, those will be totally new to us. We have maybe somewhere around 60 training gates on the course, and we'll try as many different varieties of gates as we can think of and try and squeeze into a session. But in the end, when it comes down to it, the day before the Olympics, we will see the course. We'll see what the gate setup is, and it'll be 18 to 25 gates. But we won't get to try it. We have to do it cold. So we got to see it. We'll see some demonstration boaters do it, people who aren't competing in the games but are elite athletes as well. So we'll get an idea of how we want to attack the course, but other than that, it's all new to us.
Casey, as we wrap this up, walk me through what's a day in the life of an Olympian from your perspective.
A day in the life of an Olympian.
I'm assuming there's Wheaties involved. I'm kidding, but there's probably ongoing training.
There's Wheaties involved if I'm on the box.
Well said.
It depends on the day of the week, but usually I've got a lifting session in there as well as two water workouts. Usually one on the white water, one on the flat water. Got to make sure that power and endurance is keeping up. Making sure I'm eating well. Although I just pretty much eat whatever I want.
You're probably burning a ton of calories though.
I feel like it's just constantly going in. They say that like a bunch of smaller meals kind of grazing throughout the day is healthier for you. That's fine. But I'm doing like full-size meals. I'm grazing full-size meals throughout the day. But fortunately, I like a lot of healthy foods, so it's easy for me to keep in the good food intake. And then lots of rest and, of course, playing with my dog at home because she needs attention too. So.
Very nice, very nice. Your thoughts on Oklahoma City, and what have you gotten into? What's your favorite part of Oklahoma City so far this week?
Oh my gosh, I have gotten to do a lot of exploring. I'm starting to get the hang of driving the grid system.
Because it's definitely a square system here, right?
Honestly, I take a different way to the course from my homestay every single day. I'm just like, I wonder if I go this way or this way. Maybe this is faster. Oh, I found the train tracks, and then of course there's a train there. So I've really enjoyed my stay here. It was incredible. I got to throw the first pitch for the Dodgers game last night, nice. Which was a really cool experience. Threw it nice and high and tight, so I was really afraid of one hopping it.
I was about to say, was there bouncing involved?
There was no bouncing, fortunately. My agent was like, do not bounce it.
Any pressure on that?
No, actually. I wasn't nervous until I got on the mound. People told me to stand in front of it. I was like, no. I'm going to stand on the mound. That's how I'm doing this. I'm either doing it properly or not at all.
Olympic athlete, for goodness sakes.
Well, I mean, I had to make the honey at home proud as well. So got to throw that baseball well.
You're a left-hander, I see.
I am a left-hander, so that was a little bit of a shock too.
All right, very good. Casey, best of luck. Have fun this weekend. And, of course, best of luck in Rio here in, we're within 100 days, aren't we?
I know. It's incredible to this road to Rio has been awesome, and I can't believe that we're getting so close now. It's sort of, I think of my lifespan in like quadrenniums, like every 4 years. So we're finally up to that next 4-year mark. So everything's moving quick now.
Congrats on the career. Congrats. Looking forward.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
All right, more coverage here from the Boathouse District can be found on newsok.com all weekend long. The events Saturday and Sunday out here, River Sports Rapid and the Boathouse District.